Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into Charlie Sheen's most notorious Hollywood feuds with 6 different actors and industry figures: Ashton Kutcher, Selma Blair, Jenny McCarthy, Denise Richards, Jon Cryer, and Chuck Lorre. What's coming next is even more surprising than you might expect, from explosive Twitter wars to career-ending power plays that changed Hollywood forever. Before we get started, make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more celebrity feud breakdowns. Turn on notifications so you never miss when we drop these deep dives into Hollywood's biggest controversies. The pattern behind the chaos.
I kind of... I just kind of stopped listening to things that Charlie Sheen says. Like, Charlie Sheen has become like a parent on Charlie Brown to me. It's more like wah 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 wah.
Charlie Sheen's feuds follow a distinct pattern. Professional disagreements escalate through public statements and often end with permanent damage to careers and relationships. But here's what you didn't know. These weren't just personality clashes. They were battles over creative control, financial leverage, and who really runs the show when millions of dollars are at stake. The most fascinating aspect is how Sheen's approach remained consistent across different projects and decades: go nuclear, go public, and never back down. This strategy worked until it didn't, and the turning points reveal everything about how Hollywood really operates. Have you ever wondered what it's really like when a major star decides to wage war against their own show? Stay tuned, because our first feud shows exactly how that plays out. Ashton Kutcher, the replacement war. When Charlie Sheen was fired from TwoAndAHalfMen in 2011, Ashton Kutcher stepped in as his replacement. What followed was one of television's most bitter public feuds. Sheen immediately took to Twitter, calling Kutcher lame and telling him to quit barfing on my old brilliant show. But wait, it gets worse. Sheen employed a sophisticated strategy of praising Jon Cryer while simultaneously undermining Kutcher, creating maximum on-set tension while maintaining plausible deniability. What made this devastating was the timing. 2.5 was still airing Kutcher's episodes while Sheen launched his Twitter attacks, creating a surreal situation where audiences watched the new star while the old star provided live commentary from the digital sidelines. The psychological warfare continued for months. Sheen would post seemingly supportive messages about the show, then immediately follow with barbed comments about Kutcher's acting ability. Industry insiders reported this created an impossible working environment. Here's the surprising twist. Years later, both actors expressed regret. Sheen admitted his attacks were unnecessarily harsh, while Kutcher acknowledged the impossible position of stepping into such volatility. But the damage was already done. Do you think there's ever a professional way to handle being replaced on a hit show? Or was this conflict inevitable? Hang tight. Our next feud happened on a different set with remarkably similar power dynamics. Selma Blair, the anger management explosion. If the Kutcher feud was a slow-burn Twitter war, the Selma Blair conflict was sudden detonation. On anger management in 2013, Blair played a therapist opposite Sheen's character. What should have been standard work became a cautionary tale about power and the speed at which careers can be destroyed. The conflict reportedly began with Blair raising concerns about Sheen's work ethic and professionalism. Multiple sources described tensions over punctuality and preparation. Instead of addressing these through proper channels, the situation escalated to text messages that outlets described as explicit and threatening. The resolution was swift and brutal. Within days, Blair was written out entirely. Production sources claimed Sheen issued an ultimatum: either Blair goes or he walks. Given that Sheen was star and executive producer, the outcome was predetermined. Blair's character was killed off-screen. Sheen later framed Blair's departure as a creative decision in interviews, claiming the show needed to go darker. This narrative transformation, from workplace conflict to artistic vision, became a template for handling similar situations. The incident became a whispered warning throughout Hollywood about the real cost of speaking up about working conditions. This is where it gets interesting, because the next feud involved questions that affected the entire industry. Jenny McCarthy, the disclosure debate. The McCarthy feud emerged from serious industry-wide conversations about health disclosure requirements. When Sheen revealed his HIV-positive status in 2015, McCarthy, who had played a love interest on TwoAndAHalfMen, raised questions about disclosure protocols. McCarthy questioned why major health disclosures weren't standard practice for intimate scenes, while clarifying she understood HIV transmission risks and wasn't claiming personal exposure. Her comments targeted industry practices, not Sheen personally. Sheen's response was immediate and defensive. His representatives clarified he was not HIV positive during their time working together, effectively shutting down implications of prior risk. But the professional relationship damage was done. The debate expanded beyond these individuals to broader industry questions. Should productions require health disclosures for physical contact? How do you balance privacy rights with safety concerns? The question remains unresolved in Hollywood. What made this complex was its intersection with public health advocacy. Health experts used the controversy to educate about transmission facts, while advocates worried the debate might increase HIV stigma in entertainment. If you were running a production company, how would you balance actor privacy with safety concerns? Wait until you hear this next part, because our fourth feud involves a marriage that became a decade-long public battle. Denise Richards, from romance to warfare.
I went through so much with my divorce from Charlie that it affected my career. And I had a hard time actually getting a job because people perceived me as someone that was trying to take down Charlie Sheen, who was on this big show, and it was the network and studio, and it was a different time.
The Sheen-Richards relationship began as Hollywood fairy tale and devolved into one of entertainment's most bitter public divorces. Their feud spans over a decade with every element of celebrity conflict, custody battles, restraining orders, financial disputes, and social media warfare. They married in 2002 and had 2 daughters before their relationship deteriorated publicly. The 2005 split involved a restraining order petition from Richards, citing concerns about Sheen's behavior and its impact on their children. What followed was a custody battle across multiple courts and tabloid magazines. The complexity lies in multiple conflict layers. Beyond typical divorce issues, their battle became entangled with Sheen's subsequent relationships, substance abuse struggles, HIV disclosure, and Richards' reality television appearances with their daughters. One surreal chapter occurred when Richards temporarily took custody of Sheen's twin sons with Brooke Muller, creating a situation where Sheen's ex-wife cared for his children with another ex-wife. This was both praised as selfless co-parenting and criticized as reality television exploitation. The social media dimension has been particularly nasty, with both parties using platforms to air grievances and rally public support. Despite public acrimony, court records show both parents consistently prioritized their daughters' well-being in major decisions. Have you ever noticed how celebrity divorce coverage focuses more on drama than actual impact on children? Stay tuned. Our next feud shows what happens when professional and personal conflicts collide. Jon Cryer, the co-star tension. While Sheen's other feuds were explosive, his conflict with TwoAndAHalfMen co-star Jon Cryer was subtler, but potentially more damaging. For nearly 8 years, sharing virtually every scene, their off-screen relationship deteriorated gradually before exploding publicly. The tension began with salary disparities and evolved into resentments about recognition, screen time, and creative input. As Sheen's salary grew to over $1 million per episode, Cryer reportedly felt undervalued despite being essential to the show's chemistry. Industry sources described a working relationship that became increasingly professional and distant. Early seasons featured genuine camaraderie. Later seasons showed performers clearly just doing their jobs without real connection. The breaking point came during Sheen's 2011 meltdown, when his comments about Cryer were passive-aggressive, often framed as compliments containing subtle digs. Cryer's response was notably professional, focusing on protecting the show and crew jobs. This gradual deterioration model has become increasingly common in Hollywood as series run longer and relationships become more complex. Chuck Lorre, The Creator's Revenge. Our final feud represents the ultimate television power struggle, star versus creator. The Sheen-Lorre conflict began with creative differences but escalated into personal attacks that shocked Hollywood veterans. Sheen publicly called Lorre a clown and loser, used slurs, and demanded Lorre's removal from the show Lorre created. The attacks crossed every line of professional behavior. Lorre's response was subtler but more devastating. Rather than public attacks, he documented Sheen's behavior through official channels, building a case for removal. This culminated in Sheen's firing in 2011, ending his guaranteed $1 million+ per episode income. The conflict became a test case for how much disruption networks would tolerate from valuable performers. The resolution was swift once CBS and Warner Brothers decided they'd had enough. Sheen was terminated, and when the show returned with Kutcher, Lorre had complete creative control. Do you think networks should tolerate difficult behavior from stars for better ratings, or should professionalism always come first? But wait, there's something even more surprising about how these feuds connect. The bigger picture, what these feuds really reveal. These conflicts reveal fundamental Hollywood power dynamics affecting every industry professional. They show how social media changed celebrity conflicts. Sheen weaponized platforms for immediate, unfiltered warfare, bypassing traditional media gatekeepers but eliminating cooling-off periods. They demonstrate how financial leverage affects behavior. When Sheen made over $1 million per episode, his volatility was tolerated much longer than for lesser-paid performers. Only when behavior threatened show existence did financial considerations turn against him. Most importantly, they reveal hidden power structures. Writers, producers, and executives ultimately have more lasting power than stars because they control content creation and distribution infrastructure, where everyone stands today. Kutcher and Sheen have moved past their conflict through time and career separation. Blair's career continued successfully, proving removal from one project doesn't mean permanent damage. The McCarthy debate ended without resolution, leaving industry disclosure questions unresolved. Richards and Sheen continue co-parenting with varying degrees of public drama. Cryer spoke respectfully about TwoAndAHalfMen while being honest about working challenges. Lorre moved on to other successful shows, rarely referencing the Sheen conflict. The final lessons. These feuds offer clear lessons. Professional relationships require constant maintenance when large money and public attention are involved. Social media amplifies every conflict. Power dynamics shift constantly. Yesterday's untouchable star becomes today's cautionary tale. Most importantly, talent alone isn't enough. Professional behavior, reliability, and collaborative ability remain essential, regardless of money or fame level. If this deep dive into Charlie Sheen's Hollywood feuds gave you new insights into how the entertainment industry really works, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more celebrity conflict breakdowns. Thank you for being part of our community. What kind of videos would you like us to make next? Let us know in the comments. See you on the next video.